Hi guys, Kai and Ben here from Villager Homes. This is episode 4, and today we're going to be talking about Brampton, actually, which is sort of my hometown or home village. So it's quite nice to talk about this one. There's a lot to talk about, a lot of good things, a lot of good points. And as I said in our previous episode, we're going to try and concentrate more on the local areas. We feel it's more content that what you guys want to hear, really. So this video or this podcast, I suppose, would go out to the people that maybe are considering to look into Brampton or the surrounding area, or people that live in Brampton that aren't sure what's going on about it all at the moment. There's some information in here that you might like. That's kind of today's subject, really. So, as you may have known from before, we're going to call this Why Brampton? Why Brampton? Ben, I mean, if you want to kind of start, what's your initial thoughts, actually, because you haven't come from Brampton, you've come from Cambridge, so you've come into Brampton to work with me. What do you think of it, just in a nutshell?
Yeah.
You're not expecting that question, were you?
No, I've got two impressions. I've got one from when I was younger. I used to play a lot of football.
Oh, yeah.
And we played Brampton. And I don't know how, but this team was just incredible. We played in the...
What Brampton team was incredible?
The Brampton team. Okay. We played in the under 18 or 17s A-League. So good standard. And in this Brampton team, their smallest win of that year was 8-0.
Okay.
Of the top division in Cambridgeshire. So I've got that as a lasting impression from Brampton. But I mean, coming into it, because I'm based just outside of Cambridge, so obviously I commute to Brampton. It's a very handy village, and it's when I say handy, is you've got everything you need within Brampton, but then it's quite a close-knit village as well. It's obviously not being like yourself that's from Brampton. I can walk down the road in Brampton and someone will stop and say hello, and I can have a 5-minute conversation. I can find anything that I need to. It's got very nice pockets of secluded areas within inside of Brampton.
Yeah.
So even though obviously where the high street is, that can be used as, in some cases, a bit of a rat run.
Yeah.
Through the village, but then off the high street, you've got some very nice secluded private drives. Within that as well, you've got a lot of sort of access to different activities to go on. I mean, you've got the golf course, you've got the football, you've got cricket, you've got all of your local facilities, you've got the woodlands. So it's just a nice pocketed area. It's quite an unoverlooked area, I think, and I think this is now why more people are now looking at Brampton when they're commuting to and from London. Yeah. as sort of a home base.
So did you think about that before you obviously you started selling properties in Brampton? Were you kind of thinking Brampton's a great place for commuting, or did it take time to realise that? What I'm saying is, do you think people from out the area are actually aware?
I think a lot of people are aware. I mean, you've got Huntingdon and St Neots train station. Yeah. Within St Neots, I've actually noted down. So St Neots 6 miles away, which is nothing, and then Huntingdon just over a mile away. Yeah. So because you've got such close access points, and then when it comes to commuting into London, a lot of the capture points as well would look at Cambridge. However, Cambridge is so congested now, and it's quite overcrowded. So then that's now forcing that out, and then obviously prices in Cambridge can be horrendous. Yeah. So now Brampton's now becoming a lot more of a hub for people to look at, become engaged with.
Yeah, it's in that bubble, isn't it?
It's in that bubble. It's not too far. And I mean, I probably have actually 5 or 6 conversations a week. Someone literally just they found our website. They ring up, "Hi, I'm wondering if you've got anything within this remit." And if I ask them why, if you don't mind me asking, it's, I'm currently based in London. I'm looking to move out as I want to get away from the hustle and bustle, as they'll say, of London, have a quieter family life, but then still have easy access into London.
Yeah. I mean, I from growing up, I was always aware that the train station did offer excellent links into London King's Cross. So there was a lot of my friends' parents that were commuting back and forth to London. So it was kind of a big thing. So I knew when I entered into Brampton with Villager Homes that a key thing about it, a key selling point is the fact that it's commuting to London. And also Cambridge. I feel like the Cambridge bubble, which you were saying, like people getting pushed out of Cambridge, what that's done is actually just sort of increased the desirability to Brampton because of the access to and from Cambridge, whereas probably about 10 years ago, it wasn't really in that bubble, actually. It was much more like Hilton, St Ives, and it didn't really go as far as Huntingdon, Godmanchester, Brampton, Buckden, etc.
It's now falling into that.
Yeah, so it's definitely hit that category now. So I'm seeing a lot more people that commute to Cambridge.
I do think as well with that happening, Brampton's starting to evolve into quite more of it's probably the wrong phrase, but a bit more of a premium brand village as well.
Yeah,
I mean, I know it's got arrangements of properties from lower tier through to quite high tier, and but it's now developing as a sort of a branded village, more of a premium village, which again is attracting the commuters, the people that want to have a very nice lifestyle, as well as still have their access to their working life. I mean, for an example, I had a conversation with a couple where it's been ongoing for probably about 6 weeks now, and they're very, very heavily invested in relocating to Brampton. They're retired. They've had a very successful life. They've got a very, very, very nice property just outside of London, but now they've found Brampton, they've studied it, they've researched it, and they're very particular about what they do.
Buyers.
Yeah, Guyana Close. What they do, they're very particular, and it was their top on their list. They were comparing Brampton, Buckden, and also Godmanchester, and they've decided Brampton for them. So it is attracting a lot of people.
Yeah, so I mean, so that's good. So you sort of that outside look, you've touched on the commuting, which is big, and it's probably, I'd say, 30-40% of the reasons why people are moving to this area now, isn't it? It's because it's got excellent commuting.
And then you've got all the family reasons. You've got the primary school. Mm-hmm. You've got the access from a family point of view. If someone's starting a family, or if they're looking to upsize due to multiple children.
Yep.
A lot of it, you've got Brampton for the primary school. You've then got access to Buckden, which again, stalling is fantastic there. Yeah. You've then got Hinchinbrook.
Well, it feeds on to Hinchinbrook Secondary School, which is really good, because Brampton's very well known as a great school, as the primary school. It's very good. A lot of people know a Brampton primary school and they want to be in the village to be able to get into that catchment, to be able to do that. And you're right, it then feeds on to Hinchinbrook Secondary School, which again is a really renowned secondary school as well. It's actually very good for sports, and a lot of people are actually looking to it who have that sporty background to be in that catchment area to get their children involved in it all.
I mean, a lot of the people as well, when we have conversations, if they are from surrounding villages or Brampton and they want to come into Brampton, or if it's a case in which they're actually in Brampton, again, I'll always ask them, is it just Brampton? Are you looking at, where are you looking at? Obviously, just to understand more about them. It's always, I want to be in Brampton for stalling. That's their first point of contact. When it does come to reasons for a young family, and then they're looking at it for the longevity of 10, 15, 20 years. It's their hub, it's their home, and where they want to set their roots, mainly, again, because they are looking for their children.
Yeah. So, okay. So we've talked about briefly about the schooling, but let's sort of evolve this part of it actually into all of the amenities that it offers. More specifically, it's got 4 shops. So it's got the co-op on the new development where the old RAF base is. You've got the co-op on High Street. You've got the
off license
next door, and then you also have another off license on Miller Way. So that just having 4 shops that are doing well just shows the scale of Brampton, and the demand, and it's really spread out quite well actually, because it caters for all of the different parts of Brampton, so it's quite easy to be able to get to a local shop.
But then on top of that, you've got
everything post office
as well, post office, butchers, where I go every day for my roles now.
Well, how do you? You go to it's really good. So Measures Butchers are well known for their big baguettes. I almost think they fill it up too much, but they do really good baguettes. And there's actually like queues at lunchtime that go outside the door. But actually, just opposite also, is they're worth mentioning the CAF opposite. Do you remember what it's called? Is
it tea rooms?
Yeah, maybe it is the tea rooms. Well, it's changed hands a couple of times, and the new owner has taken it on, and she's done really good with it. And she's kind of like made it into sort of like a sandwich bar, but actually somewhere you can sit in, relax, have a coffee, take someone, have a meeting, so on and so on. So that's quite nice to have in the village.
Both that is as well.
Yeah. And then also you've got like other things that do help families and things. So you've got dentist, nursery, GP surgery. Yeah, so you got it all really.
Yeah, it's all on your doorstep. And then, I mean, If you're looking for further leisure activities as well, you've got the golf course.
Yeah. Do you play golf?
Not very well. I'd like to be able to play it well.
Yeah.
I can hit the ball.
Yeah.
Not always straight, but I can hit it far. But that's about where my limits lie with it.
Yeah, I can't play golf. I'd like to be able to play golf. I learned when I was younger.
I've always said that I'm going to learn to play it, but I want to have lessons first. So I'm not one of them people on the course that's hacking away the green everywhere and ruining everyone else's day.
Yeah. I when I was about 13, 14, I used to play with my granddad. Bless him.
And now it's just turned to all the gear, no idea.
I haven't even got the gear anymore. I think I was playing with left-handed clubs at the time because I was just borrowing my granddad's clubs, and I'm definitely right-handed, so that just shows how I was playing back then. But yes, it's got the golf course. One thing that is missing though is tennis club.
Oh, you're Buckden.
I need a tennis club. So you've got a tennis court on the Memorial Field, which is good. It's open. You can contact contact someone local. I don't know because I've never contacted them. I'm sure someone will be able to put in the feed who you actually contact. Yeah, but you can contact them and just get the key to the nets and then set the nets up and play tennis. I've seen a couple of families play there every so often, and I do know that in the new the new development on the old RAF base, there is 2 to 3 tennis courts. So I'd love to see how that evolves and if actually a clubhouse becomes there
and if
then
it
the new
tries to
tennis
compete
club.
with Buckden, because isn't it to be Brampton, Buckden?
Well, I'm in a really tricky position here because obviously my loyalties lie with Buckden Tennis Club, but at the same time I would love to be involved in a Brampton Tennis Club. Yeah, I've spoken to some people about it, about trying to set some form of club up. But anyway, that's something in the future. But also, so anyway, we divulge. So other activities, there's actually just a lot of green areas. Yeah. There's a lot of activities. Woods. So if you've got, Brampton Woods we shouldn't have mentioned Brampton Woods. Brampton Woods is like the secret spot for people to go and get peace and quiet from the whole world. Because if you go to Hinchinbrook Country Park, if you go to the Memorial Fields,
everyone's there.
If you go to River Lane, River Lane's not too bad. Yeah, but everyone's there. Like, so I've got 2 dogs, so I like to walk my dogs. Now, actually, Brampton Woods, get myself in trouble here. You're not allowed to take your dogs off the lead, so you kind of just
very quickly. Take them back on.
Let's face it. Providing that you look after the business and you make sure that they don't go hunt wildlife, then it's okay. Yeah, and then you've got the Memorial Fields, which is great, which is where you were talking about the cricket.
Yeah, and there's a lot of football.
All the football fields are there, pitches are there. Which, talking about football, I think they're doing quite well at the moment. I see all the updates. They've got a new manager in, and he seems to be doing some good work with them, actually. They seem to be doing quite well.
I haven't seen much of their team recently. I've just got the one memory of them thumping us. And they had some lad. It was just, in the nicest way possible, it did not look like a footballer at all. But he just ran everyone riot. And as I say, their biggest win, smallest, was 8-0 in a league, which was for the under-18s, was the highest league in Cambridge.
Yeah. I don't think they're that good anymore.
No, I don't think. I know a lot of their players. I know some of the lads that played for them, and a lot of them then went on to academy teams.
Oh, okay.
So then, I think
see, like football goes over my head. So I'm assuming academy teams is
a better level.
Is a good level. Yeah. Okay.
I think every sport will just shoot past you, but.
Well, no, not tennis.
Tennis. See, I would question, and I'm not going to go into the debate now properly, whether tennis is actually a sport or if it's more of an active hobby.
Have you ever tried to play a singles game?
I have, yeah.
How long did you play for?
but I played.
You have to be seriously fit to play tennis. Okay, doubles, fair enough. You can just you find your.
Just because you have to be fit to do it doesn't mean that it's a sport.
Of course, it's a sport. How's it not a sport, Ben?
I just wouldn't class it as a sport.
I would say like pool. That's debatable.
That's not a sport.
Well, apparently it is a sport.
No, it's not. I had an argument with someone in the pub about this.
Okay, right. So
we'll go into that another day.
Yeah. Where were we? Woodlands. And so we'll just stick on like things to do. So you've got the Brampton Woods, which I advise nobody to go at because we like it for for quietness.
It's to look at, not to use.
Absolutely. You've got Hinchinbrook Country Park, which is just on the road, but it's actually in Hinchinbrook, obviously, but you can quite literally walk to Brampton. It's like less than 1.2 miles away or something like that to get into Hinchinbrook Park from Brampton, so it's a good place. And then you've got the Memorial Fields, which is just good for sports and kids to go and play and stuff like that. You've got the skate ramps and all of that sort of stuff, so it's sort of like the hangout spot for the kids.
It just caters for every age.
And then you've got River Lane, which is really, really lovely, and that can stretch all the way over to Buckden. There's also a really nice walk on River Lane. You kind of get up to River Lane, go over the locks, and then you end up at the Brampton Mill. Brampton Mill is like a really, really nice gastro-style pub. It's been around for years. It looks really, really pretty. Food in there's quite good. Drink in there's quite good. Atmosphere's quite good. So you can kind of do a walk. You allowed your dogs in there, so you can go in there, sit down, and have something to eat and drink, and then continue your walk onto like Port Home, which is good access to other villages. Or you can get on Captain Tim's boat.
I'm going to explore Captain Tim at some point.
This is Captain. This is our mascot, obviously.
This is Junior Tim.
For those who don't know, junior mascot Tim, Captain Tim.
JT.
So it's got a lot of walks. So one thing about Brampton, one of the many things about Brampton that is good, is that you do have a lot of nice hidden greenery areas on quite large scales, whether it be woodlands or river walks or open fields where you can get outdoors, and that's really all on your doorsteps. There's a lot of that, and I think that's quite important to be aware of. Let's just stop right there and do some quick numbers, because I think it's important to get the numbers in. So I've got my sheet and I haven't memorised it, but last year most property sales in Brampton involved detached properties, and they sold for an average of £435,176. Semi-detached properties sold for an average of £336,000, and terraced properties sold for £230,000 on average, which is interesting because terrace, I suppose so. Yeah, there's some of the really small terrace properties on Millaway and
Belle Isle as well.
Well, the Belle Isle terrace properties, because they're all quite large, they actually do sell for a little bit more than that. Even the terrace ones, it must be the smaller ones on Millaway maybe, because they do have some really small ones that sort of sell for that 210,000-ish. So also actually it's probably not taken into account bedrooms, so there's lots of 2-bedroom terrace properties at 200. So Brampton has an overall average price of 357,000, which is distorted, and I'll explain why in a minute. Actually, I can tell straight away. So that's suggesting that it's more expensive than nearby Buckden, which is at 295,000, and Huntingdon, which is 312,000, and Godmanchester, that's 308,000. Now, the reason why for these inflated prices is because of the new developments. So there has been a lot, and it just goes into the detached properties. There's been a lot of new 4, 5, 6-bedroom detached properties that have been sold. So it's increased that average over the detached houses there. So that's probably why. Well, no, that is why. It's because of the new developments. So during the last year, and this will carry on to the developments, sold prices in Brampton were 12% up on the previous year. Again, new builds. And 29% up in 2016, which is essentially when the new development was started selling. And continuing on from that, so last year there was 123 houses sold in total last year, which is a fair amount. More than Buckden. I can't remember the exact number it was that we said last week. But it was more than Buckden. I think Buckden was like 90 something, maybe
86, 88, maybe between 80 and 90.
But only 45 of those were second-hand homes.
Okay,
it's quite not
the Brampton numbers.
So that's 78 of the properties. 78 of the 123 were new builds. So it does say a lot in 1 year. 56 detached properties, which is a crazy amount. So in detached properties, there was more detached properties sold in Brampton than there was second-hand houses sold in total in Brampton. 5 flats, 45 semi-detached properties, and 17 terrace properties. And the year before, again, it's still really crazy figures. So the year before, where are we? 2017 or 17-18 is 142. 69 of those were new builds. And 73 second-hand homes. That's interesting, actually. So there was a lot of second-hand homes that sold 2 years ago. So that's kind of a bit of an idea on the numbers. Now, getting more into that numbers, we'll stick with the new builds because it's obviously the big topic of Brampton.
Yeah,
pretty much anybody that's talking about properties is talking about it. So we've got a lot going on.
A huge amount.
So we've got the very well known development which is taken over the old RAF, and that's comprised of it was owned. So Campbell Buchanan originally bought the land. They've divvied it up, and they've sold off lots to other developers, Linden Homes and a couple of others. And they are still building houses, and they are still selling houses. Now, from our conversation with Linden Homes a while ago, was that they believe they're going to be here for another couple of years selling properties. Yeah. So we've got a good couple of years just in that one bit. And then across the road, which is what the golf course sold. Now, the story that I've heard is the golf course sold that piece of land because they wanted the money to be able to put into a new clubhouse. Whether or not that's happening or not, I don't know. As it happened, actually, I used to work as a waiter
in the clubhouse.
Yeah, when I was about 14 or 15 or something like that for some weekend money, and it was really good. But it was a nightmare because the kitchen's above and the restaurant's below, and you have to wait at this dummy waiter to come down, and the food always came down cold, and I always got complaints, so nobody ever ate there. And I think that's all changing now, or it's already changed anyway. And then you've got the Carla Homes, which they bought the plot of land. Now they're doing some really beautiful high-end properties, and I went round a couple of weeks ago to just investigate, see how they're getting on, and actually they're on target. They're selling their properties quite well, more so than I think Campbell Buchanan are doing a good job selling, but the others are nowhere near on target compared to Carla and Campbell. Doing. Yeah, and they are some really beautiful properties, and they sell for quite a bit of money as well. They're not cheap houses, and they overlook the Brampton golf course, or some of them do. Yeah, it's quite good, and they've just sorted out the crossings now, which I think was really important because beforehand it felt like you basically had to cross a main road for the kids to get to school and stuff like that. So that's good. And then there is various other plots of land that are going through planning or have had planning accepted. So actually, staying on properties that are being built, you've got the ones. Is it Belfield at the back of Woodview? There's been a lot of debate on those houses, whether they should have been built at this time or not. But if you did watch the last episode with John Morris, then he had a valid argument on why they
explains a lot into that.
Yeah. So you've got those, and then you've got just on the old Frapston Road, there is a nice few acres that have had planning permission accepted for an over 55s development and some other properties, and then you have a smaller development on the back of the new Frapston Road. So there is a lot.
There's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on with new builds, and I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot of lorries and cranes in different directions for the next couple of years, I would say, at the very least. So, I think the car wash people are doing quite well for business because everyone's cars is always
dirty. I flit up the road, and whenever I drive past it, it's always busy, that car wash.
Yeah,
it's always busy.
So, favourite street?
I'm going to go for Manor Close, off the High Street.
That's a nice close. Yeah, I can see why you're going for that. Why though?
I think partly down to location, because obviously it's where it is. It's just off the High Street, so you've got on your doorstep the High Street. However, you're not aware of that when you're in the close. So the close, when you're in there, it's a private close. There's a limit. It's not huge. I think there's about 35 houses in there. But because it is, and the way they've positioned the close, each house is set back, so you don't feel the noise, you don't feel the activity from the high street, but you've got access to it within, well, depending on where your house is, 1 minute to maximum 5 minutes. The properties in there as well, they're really, really, really nice properties. I may be mistaken, but I believe the majority of them are all detached. But also as well, depending on where you are, if you're now to the rear, and you're familiar with Manor Close, aren't you?
Yeah, I really like Manor Close.
So when you're to the rear of Manor Close, there's a number of houses. It may be probably between the number of 3 to 5 of the houses. They actually overlook I believe it's memorial fields.
Yeah.
So it means if you were a bit sneaky, technically you should put a small
unofficially.
You should unofficially put a small gate in your backyard, and then you've got the memorial field on your doorstep as well. But I mean, the way that the houses are built, they're lovely houses. A lot of them are 4 or 5 bedrooms.
Yeah.
You've got large plots on where you are. You don't feel like you're in the centre of the village with the high street and everything going on your doorstep, because you are pushed back.
Yeah.
You've got peace and quiet. You've got privacy. And then in terms of and this is me speaking generically for the people in there, at the moment, from my understanding, it's a combination of young families or semi-retired private individuals.
It sort of goes in this loop, doesn't it? They stay
Retired
there
individuals.
and then they retire, move out, and a new young family goes in.
I mean, they come in with their family, they stay there, their family then leave, and then some of them will stay, or some look to downsize. But then what it means, though, is it's a mini community in there.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, they look after each other, they look out for each other. It's just a nice setting to be in. And with it, actually, I am going to throw it out there. We've in the essence of young family through to semi-retired, retired individuals, we've actually got an individual working through that process at the moment.
Yeah.
There's a property on Manor Close that we're working with due to the fact that they love it in there. And the only reason they're actually moving out of there is just because they've got too much space for the two of them.
Yeah. Family's grown up, moved
Family's
on.
grown up, they're all out. So
Grandkids.
it's just two of them knocking around in a lovely large 5-bedroom detached, and they begrudgingly are looking to just downsize from that.
Yeah. Good close. Very good close.
What about yours?
St George's.
Okay.
Yeah, which is actually quite similar to Manor Close in many ways. I mean, it's a close with detached properties. I actually just pulled some basics up on it. Well, 22 houses in total on St George's. There was like an extra offshoot that was built a couple of years later, which is Bradshaw Close, which has 4 really, probably the best properties in Brampton, I would say. They're beautiful with big plots, and they're really, really nice. But the reason why I like St George's is Twigden Homes built it. I respect Twigden Homes as a builder. They always did very high spec properties. They didn't try to cram a load of houses onto a plot.
Properly.
It's really well proportioned, so it's spaced out, long big drives, and so on and so on. So so St George's was built in 1999. The land was bought off. I've forgotten the chap's name. Unfortunately, he passed away not too long ago. But
so it wasn't brought off another developers. It was just an individual's land. He's decided he doesn't want it anymore.
He lived at the top of River Lane. He still has, or the family still has, lots and lots of land, and this one piece of land.
One bit that they offloaded.
He sold off to them, and they did a great job. And they were selling in 1999 for a crazy premium compared to local Brampton, and then Bradshaw Close was sort of like an extra piece of land which they then built 4 houses on in 2001, and they were super luxurious, really high end, and it almost set a whole new bar for Brampton when they.
And then was that I suppose that should have initiated the, as I referred to it earlier, probably the wrong phrasing for it, but the premium brand village.
Absolutely.
So that's then kick-started everyone else to think, let's not just monetize every single tiny space we can get and build 5 houses where we can have 2. Let's actually make it luxurious, bring the right people in.
Yeah, and they did the right thing. And it was their selling point. I spoke with the selling director this morning of St George's, of Twigden Homes, who was the sales director back then, and she was saying she recalled that it was all about the premium location because of backing onto the river and so on, and that's kind of how they sold it, and the golf course and all that sort of stuff. So it was a really good spot.
It's a good choice.
Yeah. But there is lots of nice places in Brampton. There's Manor Close is in my top 10, well maybe even top 5 actually, because you've got things like the ones at the high street are the ones that I really, really like because they're so central.
The miniature cul-de-sacs, you mean? Off the high street.
Like Measures Yard, Garner Close.
Garner Close.
What's the? Is it? No, it's not Coots. There's another one which is almost opposite the Chinese/fish and chip shop. I've forgotten what that road's called, but that's quite nice. It's private. It goes up there. And then Horseshoes Way is a really nice road. Horseshoes Way is great for bungalows. Yeah. So Horseshoes Way is excellent for, I believe, people that are semi-retired, retired. It seems like on one side of the road, it's all 3 to 4 bedroom detached properties.
And then the other side, it flips it over and it's the bungalows.
Yeah, and it's sort of like people move from one side of the street to the other as they get a little bit older. So it's quite nice, actually. And they do sell for a nice amount of money, especially the bungalows, because they're so local.
So central, but you're in your own mini cul-de-sac, so you just don't feel it. You just feel like...
Yeah, and then let's not forget, although I did talk about Miller Way having smaller terraced properties, it's actually quite a diverse road. It loops around, so you can access it from West End and Grove Lane. And it's got everything from detached properties to various closes going off with detached properties, from bungalows to semi-detached to mid-terrace to apartments and flats. It really does cater for everything. Box. Yeah, and it's the curb appeal isn't as good as, say, like St George's Close. Yeah. But actually, for what you get for the money there, and the proximity into
and where you are and your accessibility to
it's
motorways,
really
to the village and everything.
Yeah. So it's one to look out for a mile away. But we are getting close to time, really.
Finisher
for our episode. Go on then. Are you about to say something for your finisher?
Ratings.
Oh yeah.
We've got our ratings to do.
I forgot about that. Okay.
Right. The thing is now, I didn't actually make a note of what we rated upon last time. So we're gonna do. So we had transport links.
Yeah.
We had facilities.
Yeah.
We had, which I still haven't created a name for yet, premium brand. Mm-hmm. And then we have one more. What was our other one?
Amenities. Have you said that?
Transport, facilities, and premium brand. I think we had one more, but we'll ignore that for today. Right.
So outside areas. Surely that was one.
Yes. So we had leisure activities.
Leisure activities. Yeah.
Okay. Starting with leisure activities.
Okay.
Out of 5, and you can put it on a decimal of a 0.5 if you want to.
Okay. Well, it's 4.5, and the only reason why it's not 5 is because it hasn't got the tennis court yet. The proper tennis club. Yeah. Right. If it had that, it would, because it does cater for everything.
Transport links. I'm going to go 4.5.
I've got to be on it as well. 4.5. Yeah. Facilities,
and then that's everything from your GPs through to your takeaways.
It has every facility.
It has everything.
It even has a chiropractor, Dr. Boat. Oh my God! If you have problems with your back,
I need to actually visit him.
He is a magician. He's not even a chiropractor. He should just do magic shows.
And then we've got premium brand. This is the one where I'm not. The other ones I had a number in my head straight away.
Yeah.
Here I'm looking at, I think, 3.5.
I was going to say that as well, and the reason why I think it's very balanced. Yeah. It's got lots of premium settings or executive settings, and then it's got more affordable areas as well.
So it's just a nice balanced combination.
Absolutely.
It's not the case in which it's just a nice balance.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then out of 10, I'm going to put it at...
Is this just overall?
Overall. So everything included. Brampton as a whole out of 10. I'm going to put 8.5 as mine. Or is that a bit harsh?
What's it lacking? I'm trying to think what's it lacking.
The reason why I've got 8.5 is because there is the... No, that's not a reason.
I don't know why... That's a nice picture. I don't know why it's... lacking anything. I don't know why it couldn't be a 10, but then if we use our 10 now...
10's a strong...
Yeah.
That's a strong figure.
I'm gonna go for 9. I'm gonna go for 9. I don't know why I'm not going for 9.5, because I can't think of any reason why it shouldn't be, but I'm gonna go for...
Do you know what we missed as well, just as the very last point?
What?
We didn't actually include that Village Homes is based in Brampton.
Well, we're not talking about Village Homes
but I'm going to throw it in there. So that's where we are. But we're going to give this I'm going to make a consensus decision, 8.7 out of 10.
Okay, I'm going to put 9 out of 10 for mine. So we'll meet in the middle at
8.85.
8.5-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Out of 10.
Fine. That's good. Well, thanks very much, guys. And I hope that you've enjoyed our thoughts on Brampton. If you have any suggestions or any things that we might have missed, feel free to put it in the comments below. And if it's something that we have missed, then we'll own up to it. And but I hope we kind of given you people from the outside a really good understanding of actually what Brampton has to offer, and you know the sort of facilities and the amenities and the sort of atmosphere that you're going to get when you come into Brampton to live. If you have any questions, feel free to contact myself or Ben at Villager Homes, and the details will be following from here. Thank you very much.